Welcome to my channel. What would you do if one day you lost everything, your job, your happiness, your confidence, and even your sense of self? Would you break forever? Or would you discover a stronger version of yourself? Today's story is about a person who lost almost everything in life, but found something even more important in the end. Stay till the end, because this story may help you during your own difficult time. A life that looked complete. Before everything changed, Emma's life looked perfect from the outside. She had a stable job, good clothes, a comfortable apartment, and many people around her. Every morning, she woke up early, drank coffee, checked her phone, and rushed to work. Her days were always busy. In English, we use simple present tense to describe routine life. She wakes up early. She goes to work. She smiles at people. These are simple sentences, but they describe a full daily routine. Emma worked hard every day. People respected her because she was responsible and polite. Her friends often said, "You are lucky. Your life is so organized." Emma smiled when she heard those words. But inside, she felt something very different. She was tired all the time, not physically, but emotionally. Slowly, she stopped doing things she once loved. She stopped painting. She stopped writing in her journal. She stopped spending quiet time with herself. Her life became full of schedules, pressure, and expectations. One evening, after a long day, Emma stood in front of the mirror. She looked at her reflection carefully. For a few seconds, she stayed silent. Then a painful thought came into her mind. I don't feel like myself anymore. That moment became very important because sometimes a person can have everything on the outside but still feel empty inside. Emma had built a life that looked complete to others, but deep in her heart, she felt disconnected from who she truly was. She did not know it yet, but very soon her world would begin to change. And through that change, she would lose many things, but also discover herself again, losing everything slowly. After that night, Emma started noticing small changes in her life. At first, they did not seem very important, but slowly, those small problems became bigger. Her work pressure increased. She had more responsibilities and less peace. She tried to stay strong, but inside, she felt exhausted. In English, we use simple sentences to describe difficult situations. She feels stressed. She loses focus. She worries too much. These sentences are short, but they show deep emotions. Emma also began having problems in her relationships. She stopped replying to messages. She avoided long conversations. Even when she was with people, she felt alone. One day, her closest friend said, "You are here, but your mind is somewhere else." Emma smiled softly, but those words hurt her deeply because they were true. Soon after that, another problem came. Emma lost an important project at work. She had worked hard on it for months, but things still went wrong. That failure affected her confidence badly. She started thinking, maybe I am not good enough anymore. Days became heavier. Nights became quieter. She cried sometimes, but only when nobody was around. The emotional spike of this chapter is slow loss. Emma was not losing everything in one moment. She was losing things slowly, her peace, her confidence, her connection with others, and even her connection with herself. Then one evening, she sat alone in her apartment and looked around the silent room. For the first time, she realized something painful. Everything she depended on emotionally was starting to disappear, and she had no idea how to stop it. The darkest moment. Weeks passed, and Emma's life became even more difficult. She stopped enjoying her routine. Even simple things felt heavy now. She woke up tired. She went to bed tired. Her mind was always full of worry. In English, we use past tense to talk about emotional experiences. She cried quietly. She stayed alone. She felt empty inside. These simple sentences describe deep sadness. Emma stopped talking to many people. She ignored calls and messages. She told everyone she was fine, but inside she was breaking. One rainy evening, she sat near the window in complete silence. The room was dark. Her phone was quiet. Everything around her felt cold and distant. That night became the lowest point of her life. She started thinking about everything she had lost: her happiness, her confidence, her dreams, and the person she used to be. Then she asked herself a painful question. Who am I without all these things? This was the emotional spike of the story. Because sometimes, when life removes everything we depend on, we are forced to face ourselves honestly for the first time. Emma did not have an answer. She felt lost. For a moment, she believed her life would never improve again. But deep inside that darkness, something very small was still alive, a quiet part of her that wanted peace, truth, and change. She could not hear it clearly yet, but it was there. And sometimes, the darkest moments are not the end of the story. Sometimes, they are the beginning of transformation. Emma did not know it yet, but her journey toward finding herself was about to begin, the beginning of change. After many difficult days, something small started changing inside Emma. The problems in her life were still there, but her way of thinking slowly began to shift. One morning, she woke up earlier than usual. She sat quietly near the window and watched the sunrise. For the first time in many weeks, she did not check her phone immediately. She just sat there in silence. In English, we use simple action sentences to describe new beginnings. She starts slowly. She takes a deep breath. She wants to change. These are small actions, but they can create big changes. That morning, Emma realized something important. She had spent so much time trying to please everyone else that she had forgotten herself completely. She whispered softly, I want to find myself again. That sentence became a turning point in her life. Emma did not suddenly become happy. Healing was slow. Some days were still painful, but now there was a small light inside her darkness. She started doing little things for herself again. She cleaned her room. She wrote in her journal. She went outside for quiet walks. Then one day, she found her old paintbrushes in a box. She looked at them for a long time. Painting was something she once loved deeply, but she had stopped because life became too busy. That evening, she painted again for the first time in years. Not perfectly, not professionally, but honestly. And while painting, she felt something she had not felt in a long time: peace. This was the emotional spike of the chapter. Emma began understanding that losing everything was painful, but maybe it was also giving her a chance to rebuild her life differently. A life that felt more real, more honest, more connected to who she truly was. And slowly, she started finding herself again, finding strength and identity. As time passed, Emma continued changing little by little. Her life was still not perfect, but now she was no longer trying to become the person everyone expected her to be. She started listening to herself more carefully. In English, we use growth and self-improvement vocabulary to describe personal change. She learns new habits. She becomes stronger. She discovers herself again. These sentences are simple, but they describe powerful transformation. Emma spent more time doing things that made her feel calm and alive. She painted often. She wrote her thoughts honestly in her journal. She also started reading books that inspired her. Slowly, she began understanding herself in a deeper way. Before, she believed success meant always being busy, perfect, and accepted by others. But now, her understanding had changed. She realized that true happiness comes from peace inside yourself. One afternoon, Emma went to a quiet park with her notebook. She sat under a tree and started writing about her journey. As she wrote, tears came into her eyes. Not tears of sadness, but tears of realization. She finally understood something important. For a long time, she had been living a life that looked good from the outside, but felt empty inside. Now, even though her life was simpler, it felt more honest and meaningful. This was the emotional spike of the chapter. Emma smiled softly and whispered to herself, I was lost, but now I am finally meeting my real self. That moment changed everything. She no longer feared being alone. She no longer needed constant approval from others. Because now she was building a relationship with the most important person in her life herself. And through all the pain, LA knew life and a powerful lesson. Months later, Emma's life looked very different. She was not the same person who once felt lost, exhausted, and emotionally empty. Now she felt calmer, not because life became perfect, but because she finally understood herself. In English, we use simple life lesson sentences to express growth. Pain can teach us. Difficult times make us stronger. New beginnings come after endings. These are simple sentences, but they carry deep meaning. Emma still had challenges sometimes. Some days were difficult, some memories still hurt, but now she faced life differently. She no longer ran away from her emotions. She no longer pretended to be okay when she was not. Instead, she accepted herself honestly. One evening, Emma looked at an old photo of herself from the past. In the picture, she was smiling, but now she understood something important. That smile was hiding pain. But the smile she had today was different. It was peaceful, real, strong. This was the final emotional spike of the story. Emma realized that losing everything had changed her life forever. At first, it felt like destruction, but later, she understood it was also transformation. Because sometimes, life removes things from us for a reason. Sometimes, we lose people, comfort, success, or certainty, so we can finally reconnect with who we truly are. Emma whispered softly to herself, sometimes losing everything is the only way to truly find yourself. And for the first time in many years, she truly believed those words. Her story was not about failure anymore. It was about healing, growth, and finding herself again. Call to action. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below. Have you ever gone through a difficult time that changed you completely? Your support helps this channel grow and helps more English learners improve through emotional and meaningful stories.